All right. Welcome to GUFON, everybody. I'm your host, Rich Giordano. It is Wednesday, July 28th, 2021. How the hell is everybody? My God, what a day. I don't even want to talk about Tyler. I don't care about Tyler. Forget it, because tonight we're going in a positive direction. All right? And some of you are going to say, wait a minute, this isn't a positive direction. It is. Because all you're going to hear tonight are cold, hard facts about things you probably didn't know, need to know, and should know in ufology. That's why I'm going to have Stephen Cambian from Truth Seekers join me here in just a moment. And we are going to get to work. And we are going to figure out ufology together. I have a feeling we're going to crack the code of ufology tonight. Oh, wait. Never mind. It's been cracked. Everybody lies. Well, it was a good show. Yeah, great interview. Guy was great. I am seeing these super chats coming in. My goodness. I don't have the bell because I usually don't do that, but I'm going to go quickly. We're getting massive thunderstorms right now. I don't know if you heard that, but it's unreal right now outside. I want to say thank you to World in Chaos 76 for the $9.99 super chat. TC with a $5 banger right there, right into the GUFON kitty. William Bridges as well with a $10 for the truth, he says. My goodness, you guys are rolling it out tonight. What happened? IR Film with a $5 super chat. What the hell? You guys are Zen Master Me with a $99 super chat. Oh man, this is all going to go right back into the road trip fund for October. That's right. We're still going to try to go to Washington. I'll let you know Friday for sure if I am securing that for myself. I'm going to go by myself, but I think I need somebody to videotape, record me. Mr. Fessler, how you doing? That was an accident, but welcome to the show. Ack with a $2 super chat. All right, super chats rolling in. Is that Tim Tinsent? You know, I recognized you. Oh my God, Steven, he's waiting in the wings. $10 super chat. All right, now all super chats that come in from here on out, I will post them so you can see them. And if I have a chance to say thank you, I will. But let me tell you this right now. Thank you for any future super chats. Mucho gusto generoso. I can't even speak. Mucho gusto generoso. Anyway, with that being said, I am going to, and thank you very much. Welcome to the show, everybody. Everybody, no roll call tonight because we try to save all the time for our guest, and it is Truth Seekers, Stephen Cambian. Welcome to GUFON. How the hell are you?
I'm here. I'm happy to be here.
Did I sound like Jimmy Church? Hey, welcome to the show. How the hell are you?
Yeah.
You learned from the best. Oh my God. What are we doing in ufology, man? What are we doing here? Why are you in this thing? What do you got? Why are you here?
Sometimes I wonder myself. I'm getting an echo in my own mind.
Oh, let me turn this off. Yeah, no, that's a new thing that they started here on StreamYard.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let me get rid of this. All right, you should be fine. Sorry about the echo.
Oh, I'm glad I said something because I was just going to deal with it for the next, hour and a half.
No, everybody's already saying I see 10 echoes already.
So I started because I saw something myself when I was 10 years old, and I always wondered about it. What is it? Did I see aliens? Did I see alien spacecraft? And it started a lifelong run down the rabbit hole. But then later, I became, believe it or not, a stage magician. Rabbits and doves and Las Vegas showgirls and girls in boxes. Yeah, and you know what that experience really taught me is how to see through deception better than most people. And I call it a blessing and a curse. So when I really started digging into ufology and all the characters involved, I saw a lot of fraud, hoaxes, fakers, fake people with fake backgrounds, fake educations, and I was able to quickly determine that a lot of these people aren't who they appear to be.
Right, but you have Truth Seekers, and that's been around for a little while now. You're at over 2,000 subscribers rather quickly, I might add. You might not think so, but in this shadow banning world of YouTube and ufology,
Yeah, it's a
no, not
miracle.
bad. Yeah, did pretty good. So that's good. I mean, at least you're getting your following. I found you. It was purely by accident. I don't know if somebody sent it to me or what, but I think it was an accident. It was recommended, maybe. And I'm listening to you and I'm like, wait a minute, this guy sounds like what I say. And I kept listening and I'm like, wait a minute, I say that too about that guy.
Yeah, and the
So,
funny thing is I hadn't heard of your show, and
yeah.
somebody in my live chat said, you ought to see Rich from GUFON. You guys think a lot alike, and you talk about a lot of the same things." So then I started watching, and I agree with them. And you happen to have a 2-hour show, and I have a ride to a cabin in the mountains that is 2 hours long. So I use your show to catch up and not be bored for the 2-hour ride. But I agree. Yeah, you and I think a lot alike about a lot of different subjects.
So, with that being said, I told you before the show, I'm going to have to ask you these basic questions, right? So,
Yeah, sure.
so, okay, I don't want to get personal because I don't know you that way yet, so I'm not going to go right
I'm
into
an
that.
open
But
book. You can ask me anything you want.
all right, where are you from? Where were you
Uh,
born?
Born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I've lived there most of my life. Though I did live in the Midwest for a short time, and I also lived on Long Island for a while, and then I always got dragged back to Philly. But recently, in the last 2 years, I moved out of the city because of the turmoil in the
Yeah.
city and the crime rate and the crackheads and the you know dopers.
There's something to say about people who grow up in the city or near a city like Philly, New York, Chicago, etc. You have to learn to deal with people because it's very crowded. And when I moved to Arizona at 10, 11 years old, it was totally different. People are assholes out here, and I don't like it. Now in Florida, but it is that way. So I think that's how you probably incorporate your comedy as well into the show because nobody other than me is doing what I do. Now I see you doing different but funny. So
I got disgusted with a lot of things and just said that sometimes you have to laugh at this stuff and laugh at some of the characters. And so I started making them into literal characters, like Dr. Stephen Greed is one of our
right,
characters.
that's awesome.
And just kind of make fun of the whole thing because, partially out of, I guess, like a lot of people, maybe I'm a little angry when I find out the truth about some of these people and how they're only in it for the money and all they care about is the money. And it's always buy my latest book, buy my latest DVD, buy my latest course. And, the truth is that this field is filled with mostly speculation. And anybody that tells you they're going to sell you the truth is lying to you.
I
And they don't
said
have it.
no, I don't think anybody really does have the truth of anything. There's no, I think I've come to the conclusion that there are no aliens and UFOs, most of them probably weather anomalies or things we just haven't figured out yet. I'm
Black
really sad about it.
projects.
Yeah,
Black
that.
projects. I think a great deal of it is black projects. In fact, I have a theory called the dark playground hypothesis, which just basically says that there's a dark playground, a black hole of money. Trillions go into it. Nobody knows where all the money goes. They're developing all these top secret weapon systems, and they have actively used aliens and flying saucers to disinform people when they're doing tests of these top secret aircraft. It's on the record that they did that with, the Benowitz case is probably the most famous. This guy seeing drones being flown, and they sent an Air Force Office of Special Investigations officer in the form of Richard Doty to convince him that what he's seeing is aliens, not drones.
So wait, Doty switched it around and said it was aliens?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so why? To get us
To-
off of not the Black
to get him
Project.
off of not the black projects.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and that case is interesting because a great deal of UFO, let's just call it mythology, all came out of the Benowitz case. Dulce base and many other things all came from that interaction with Doty, and Doty was feeding him all of this information. And the first mention of Majestic 12 was in fake documents that Doty gave to Benowitz about the government recovering crash flying saucers and things like that. So a lot of roads lead back to Doty as far as stories about UFOs, Serpo, Majestic documents, and many more.
Doty. I've been saying that Lou Elizondo is the new Richard Doty.
Could be. Yeah, I'm very suspect of him. I mean, I just kind of think that now he's going to be making the rounds, and we'll really see, what he's in it for. Because if he's just running around grabbing UFO dollars, then he doesn't really care about the truth, and it was just a for-profit adventure. And being part of TSA, I mean, TTSA literally raised millions of dollars, and Tom DeLonge stood up and promised everybody they were going to build a spaceship with a revolutionary power source. As he's soliciting money for investors, we've never seen the spaceship. I'd like a ride in it with Lou Elizondo, though.
That would be awesome.
Because they have millions of dollars. They said they were going to build a spaceship. I didn't see a spaceship.
With $2.3 million, that's what they got when they first started. Mm-hmm. I remember that. And they wouldn't take less than a 50.
Yeah.
If you wanted to send $5, fuck you. I don't want your $5. We need 50. So that to me is kind of like telling me what, writing was on the wall. I gave them 4 years. 5 years, 4 or 5 years before
and
they broke
I remember
up.
hearing you predicted they would break up within this many time, and they did. Yeah, so you were right about that.
Because we don't know why, but apparently Elizondo wanted to do his own thing, and all this other stuff. That's why Elizondo went around and started going on every show, because people were asking for him to come on, but I guess the people who are his what
handlers.
do you call those handlers? Push those aside. You can only talk to mainstream media, which I think was probably a smart move. But I don't know. Luke just came out of nowhere. But let me ask you this, because we kind of jumped to now and a little bit of TTSA, and I was just asking you about where you grew up. So do you have a degree in anything?
No, actually, I went to college for computer science, and I got frustrated with the fact that let's just say that the level of the professors that I have, their knowledge level was, not to sound arrogant, but below mine. And I'm paying all this money, and nobody, I'm supposed to be being taught to code by people who can't code. And I'm paying tens of thousands of dollars for this. And then I suddenly realized that in the computer industry, they don't care about the degree. They care about your knowledge base and what you're able to do for them, problems you're able to solve. So I just bailed out and said that was enough college for me.
So
I'm mostly self-taught, computer technologist kind of a guy. I'm into all kinds of technology and computer science, robotics, things like that.
Is that what you do for a living?
Well, I did pre-pandemic. I had a business that was mostly servicing people's computers, just fixing computers. But the business model was that we in-house service. So in other words, instead of your laptop breaking and you take it to the Geek Squad at Best Buy or whatever, you just call me and I would come to your house. But then the pandemic happened and nobody wanted me in their house. So the business kind of took a nosedive, like many people's businesses. And that's one of the reasons I started the show too, because I went, maybe I'll just do this, or try at least. So, I'm treading water with between the show and other things that I'm doing for money right now. I have a few clients for, computer related stuff still, business clients, and that keeps me afloat. But I tend to not like to work very much, work just as much as I have to.
Yeah.
I'm being honest.
Me too.
I got a cabin I'm building. I have other projects. I have a Linux distribution of my own that I'm working on, and some other things that really require a lot of time. And I'd rather do personal projects than especially something like sit in a cubicle for 10 hours a day.
I worked about 6 hours this morning nonstop. Felt like it was an hour. I'm like, wait a minute. I only have 9 minutes of editing done. I'm like, what am I doing? It was a lot of research and stuff and pulling pictures and everything, video. But
it takes time.
It does. And, I sit there and trying to think of how I want to, make the video and whatnot. But so at 10 years old, you saw something. What did you get a detail of it or what?
Yeah, I was in a forest near my parents' cottage in New Jersey, which just so happened to be right near Fort Dix Army Base and McGuire Air Force Base.
Okay.
And I saw something in the forest. It was above the tree lines. It was like, huge to me. And it was dusk, but it was darkening the forest as it passed over. It was completely silent. I felt electricity in the air, and I saw animals running at me, like away from the area that this craft was over, which was strange because I saw deer running away from this thing, and like raccoons, and I don't know, squirrels, and what else, birds flying away from the area right past me. It was a really truly surreal experience, and I just look up and I see this circular metallic dull gray craft, and then it sped away, and the whole thing lasted 10 minutes, but it was
What?
over. Yeah, it was over me for a good 5 or 7 minutes, I would say, or more. And it's hard to tell because it felt like everything slowed down. You're sitting there looking at this thing that can't be real, but it is, and it's right above you, and I mean right above the tree line. So it was like 40 feet above me, and it hovered right over me. It's completely silent. And so that started me. I started getting every book that I could find in the local libraries or school libraries. But back then it was like books from the 70s.
Wait, man, hold on now. And you're in the field. No wonder why you're like me, because you saw something that you never forgot, and you in your mind it was real, right? You didn't fake it. You're not
I'm
telling a
sure it
lie,
was real. I was 10
right?
years old. I didn't start drugs until much later.
Right,
So
right. As most of us. But but at 10 years old, let's not say that a 10-year-old is going to have this impressionable imagination. I know when I was 10, I know things I saw. I didn't make it up. So I believe you when you say you saw something like that.
yeah, and
So,
I've never written a book. I mean, it was a 10-minute
right.
experience, so I've never written a book. Worked at a UFO conference, telling about my experience. I've never tried to personally profit from the experience, but later I said I'm not completely satisfied with the level of investigative work that most of these people out here in this thing do. So I'm going to do some of my own.
Okay. So what are you, like 35, 36? Somewhere in there?
I'm 40.
Oh, you're 40. Okay. You look younger. So 30 years ago,
Yeah.
and when did you get on YouTube? 2 years ago?
No, I've been on YouTube for a long time, but I had a channel where I just uploaded like weird artistic stuff and music, not really UFO related. But about 4 years ago, I started doing a radio show that was on the Fringe FM on Saturday nights, and that was
Oh, yeah. I
that
remember you
was
told me.
called the Midnight Hour. And I got to interview a lot of amazing people like Stanton Friedman and I don't know, Stephen Bassett, John Ventry before he went all racist. And
Oh, my God.
yeah, John McAfee I got to interview
Wow.
on that
That's
show.
cool.
And just so everybody knows, on my Patreon, I just uploaded all 45 of those episodes, and they're there. But I can give you a link to my previous YouTube channel. Just search my name, and you'll find the previous YouTube channel, not the Truth Seekers YouTube channel, but Stephen Cambian YouTube channel, and that's got all the Midnight Hour show episodes.
And your channel, even though it's scrolling here, is Truth Seekers, one word, right?
Yeah, you could just put Truth Seekers in the search bar, look for the weird guy with sunglasses. That would be me.
In the search, it always seems like it's the second thing that pops up. So you'll see
Yeah,
it.
I was so pissed because I picked that name for the show and I had already finished the graphics and the videos, and then the somebody came out with a sitcom called that.
Dude, there are so many things with the name Truth Seekers on it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that was probably, maybe it was a bad choice, but I may try rebranding like Stephen Cambian's Truth Seeker so people find it easier. But so far, people are able to find it. So
Nah, you take over Truth Seekers and you make it what it's supposed to be. That's what
yeah,
I say,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Screw them.
I was funny that sitcom. I was like, with my luck, this is going to be hugely successful and be on for 12 years. It only did one season and it's done, so they canceled it.
So
And that may have helped me actually, because people may have found me because they were searching on YouTube for that.
of course
So
it does.
so I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
So now, Was it your intentions to make the channel and talk about the bad shit and ufology, or did you
Well,
have a different
no,
way to
I
go?
kind of like, I think I, wanted to be like part Art Bell, part like Robert Stack from Unsolved Mysteries, and
Nice.
honestly, part Howard Stern to just
Yeah.
talk about like, this is a circus and I'm going to jump in the circus. That's why people kind of we make a lot of fun about stuff. I got these hot dancing girls in the intro dancing with like a Sasquatch and aliens, but it's like tongue in cheek. I'm like making fun of the circus. You don't get to this without the circus, you know?
It's a circus, but you know what I found out? It is very hard for me, for you, to have a show like this because a lot of people get rubbed the wrong way. Like, let's say they come into your show and you got a mask on and you're talking about Linda Moulton Howdy Doody, right? People are going to come in and say, oh, this is a joke and leave. And that's what they do to me. They don't give you a chance.
Yeah, I've heard
So,
from people that go, "Why would I watch a serious interview on your show? You're a parody channel." And I went,
right.
"I am? Okay." So sometimes we're covering serious topics or, interesting conversations. Like we had this UFO author, David Halperin, that just did a great book. And I read the book and loved it. I wanted to talk to him. We brought him on, and that was serious. I've done interviews with a Catholic exorcist recently because I'm interested in demons and possession. And so
That's cool.
sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes we're serious, but sometimes I'm just like, let's have a laugh at what Dr. Stephen Greed is talking about this week, or whatever.
Who do you hate the most? Not hate, but dislike, or whatever you want to call it.
I that's kind of hard. I dislike well, I have a real problem with Corey Good, who is right now suing a bunch of people.
Always. He's always
He's
suing somebody.
suing like 12 different people, but a few of them, like CW Channer and Cliff High and others, all they did was go on the internet and say that his Buck Rogers science fiction fantasy stories about time traveling and, being age regressed weren't true. And he's suing them all. So, I got a real problem with that guy because who tries he just thinks that he could go make up fake stories on the internet and nobody's allowed to critique him. And I have a problem with that. Lately, we've been focusing a lot on Jimmy Church's show because, let's see, Jimmy Church has hosted a GoFundMe scam that raised $60,000 that David Wilcock pumped on his show. Then they raised $50,000 for an Emery Smith PayPal scam that he pumped on Jimmy Church's show. Most recently, Jimmy Church has had ads from Billy Carson, a convicted fraudster felon in the state of Florida, who's selling products claiming that he can destroy AIDS and
I
HIV, and
know.
yeah, and these EMF stickers that you put on your phone that don't do anything. And then he had Jason Shurka, who claims that you could cure autism. Well, he and his guests claims you can cure autism with camel milk and essential oils. And Sarah R. Adams has been on his show recently, who is right now selling $250 med bed sessions where she takes you through a Stargate, up to a spaceship, up to the med bed, but then in the fine print of the offer admits that it's just a Zoom call.
Who's this?
$250.
Who's
Sarah
this?
R. Adams.
Sarah R. I can't believe I don't know who that is.
Yeah,
How do I not know?
she was Max Spear's girlfriend for a long time.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and
Okay.
she first came out and said that she was a super soldier on the Miles, on the Basis project. And then later, she decided that she was no longer a super soldier. She was an intuitive healer, psychic intuitive healer. And we keep track of her. She keeps getting new superpowers.
Okay.
Like she can heal people from a distance, and she can heal people's animals and work on your chakras and upgrade your DNA.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All for $300 over the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like Sylvia Brown bull crap, man.
She just sent out a list to her email list claiming that she saved an entire plane from crashing with her superpowers. Yeah. So I don't know. I've been focusing a lot on Jimmy Church because he seems to be the guy hosting all the scammers.
Do you
And
know he used to not be that way?
a lot of people don't know this, but the Jerry Sandusky story about Jerry Sandusky was broken originally by Jimmy Church. He used to be a
Yep.
real journalist.
That's
Yeah.
amazing to me. That's a huge story. I can't believe it. And then he turns to ufology. He wanted to be the next Art Bell. That was his goal.
That really was his goal, but I would just say he's no Art Bell.
No,
I
he's
don't know.
not. His show
I'm just not a fan. Not a
his
fan.
show has slipped. It's the same thing every single time you go there. You get the news and shit in the beginning, and then you get, whatever the guest later on. It's the same thing. Format never changes. And
Well, it seems lazy. It seems
it
lazy
is
to me.
lazy.
And he's got this excuse of why he does zero research is like, well, we're just having a conversation. We're letting people talk and people can believe it or not. Like, but if you're hosting people that are straight running new age scams, you have a responsibility to ask them about those scams. Like, why didn't he ask this person selling medbed sessions through a Stargate if she could really do that or prove that? Or, I don't know.
It's all about, and I'm learning this now, even with people close to me, they just want those views and the clicks, as do I. And I was asking myself, okay, would I want to have Tyler Glockner, which my friend Alien Addict just had on his show today, right before this show?
I'm going to go listen to that as soon as we're done here. I'm anxious to hear it.
Tyler must have said the word coma, I think 43 times. I was in a coma. I almost died. It couldn't have been people, and you don't understand. I lost. I mean, it's the. I couldn't listen. I maybe listened 10 minutes total, because I know all the shit. But are we really doing an injustice by having these people on, or should we get the clicks and the views too because we want to grow as well? So
no, I don't know. I have been feeling lately like I have a severe handicap, and so does somebody like you, because like first of all, the people that are really wackadoo and have zero evidence or proof are not going on your show or my show because they know that we're gonna ask them hard questions. Now, there's a few exceptions to this. Like I had a reptilian alien experiencer, and he really wanted to be on my show. I said, I'll do it, but I'm going to ask you a lot, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions you might not learn. And he was fine. Like but in general though, I mean, you and me are handicapped. We can't have these wackadoo woo people on. They won't come on because they know that we'll ask them questions they don't want to answer. And these other channels without ethics or moralities, they can use that. So it's unfortunate, but we're like handicapped here. It's like it's like they broke both my legs and still expect me to win the marathon against people that have two good legs. It's not fair. It's not going to work out. And I get pissy sometimes because I'm like, I can't get 10,000 views talking to some wackadoo alien channeler, but other people do it.
But you can. I think you can. I think we would. I had a guy on, his name was Kenneth Pass, and he threatened to slice me into little pieces on my live show. It's the funniest thing.
I gotta see. You gotta send me a link. I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta see that.
It's unreal. The guy went absolutely nuts, and he looks nuts if you see the guy. Well, anyway, he claimed he was abducted and that he destroyed Machu Picchu and that he's over 20 million years old, and I have to call him grandfather. It's really to another level. But I had this guy on because my friends had him on and we were talking to him. So one day I decided not to have him on. And then he called in, so I let him talk. And he just lost his shit. And this is one of the reasons why I don't like getting in these conversations with these people, because after the show ends, usually everything's fine during the show, but afterwards they say, oh, Rich was trying to trick me. He was telling me to say, and they make up these lies like Rich told me to say that. I'm like, oh my God, I've had people do that because, they're liars and they make up shit. So they turn it on you. That's why I don't like having them on, but I like having them on because they're batshit crazy too.
Yeah. I gotta say, I had a guy on that he was telling a story about a ritual blood sacrifice in Mexico, and right in the middle of the interview he just starts yelling and screaming, and then I killed the goat, I stabbed the goat, and he was just yelling and screaming. It was the most bizarre interview I ever did, and it got some of the best views that I've ever had a show do. So I went, yeah, let's get some more nutters, we'll talk to some crazy people. But then I feel like you might be exploiting people with mental illness. So I'm kind of careful about the ones that I will let on or not let on, or, And then also there's this, you have these people that there's a concept called falsifiability, which I really believe in. And that is, if their story can neither be proven or disproven, it really doesn't have any value. If I can't prove it or disprove it, this is why Corey Good's story works for him. You can't prove that he didn't time travel, but he can't prove that he did. So you're just left at an impasse with him. There's no.
It's people like, I think because it's entertainment and it's the
Mhm.
what if factor. What if it's real?
I have a tendency to listen to UFO related, alien related shows and documentaries and podcasts before I go to sleep. And I've been thinking lately that it's some kind of comfort thing for me. Like, okay, we're not alone in the universe. There's other
Yeah,
beings out there, and we're really not alone. And I think that's maybe deep rooted psychological thing going on there, you
but
know?
bro, you saw something
Well,
that
that too.
I
Yeah.
haven't been privy to see in my waking hours, only in dreams. But so, are we living in a world with real nuts and bolts UFOs, or are we living in a world with maybe what you saw was a black project? Is that
Yeah,
all it is?
the more I think about what happened to me, the more I think and research that I've done into like electrogravitics and weird propulsion systems that the government has experimented with, I could very well have seen something because it was literally like a mile and a half from McGuire Air Force Base main runway in the forest surrounding the base. So for all I know, they could be testing or flying it out of McGuire, you know?
And if all this stuff maybe originated from Roswell, I mean, you're talking 30 years or so that they've already had the technology to do some shit with. So who knows, man? Have you watched that Roswell thing, the final verdict or whatever it's called?
No, I haven't yet. It's on my list of things to do, but I did do a series on my channel called Roswell Revisited, and we
Yeah.
talked to really what I think is all the world's expert on Roswell. We had Don Schmidt, Tom Carey, Kevin Randall, and then we had more skeptical people and we had alien scientists as well, talking about the science of the materials and the propulsion systems, and then also Cal Korff, who is a big debunker, and he says it's a nothing burger. There's nothing there. And I don't know. I'm compelled still by all of the witness testimony because this book, Children of Roswell, is very interesting because all these people on their deathbeds just suddenly start making up alien stories. I don't think so.
They
You
use
know?
this AI lie detector technology and they use it on the older interviews. And the stuff that's being truthful is unbelievable, man. It's really something really happened. But then I
Yeah,
think, well, it's a machine, it checks all the micro expressions all on your whole face at the same time and it, relates it to other experiences of people telling their stories and whatnot. So, but I don't like it. I don't trust it. I would rather trust me. And I was getting half of those things wrong. I'm like, that guy freaking lied. And it would say truthful. And I'm like, what? You
yeah. I,
know?
I once got a chance to play with voice stress analysis lie
Yeah.
detector software, and I don't mean a cheap piece of software. I mean software that somebody would pay, and you get it on this special laptop that comes with the special microphones. But the software system was something like $80,000,
Whoa.
and I hooked myself up to it and had somebody question me, and I lied and lied again, and it didn't catch me lying. So some of these things, including polygraphs, I don't know how reliable they are.
I don't know. I think I'm pretty reliable and I'm going to go with what I think. So,
Yeah,
Roswell, it seems like there really was aliens. I don't know, man. Just to talk about Roswell because I never had you on the show, we never spoke. What do you think
sure.
really had? Do you think it was down to
I really lean towards the alien hypothesis, mostly
really?
because of the just so many different pieces of the puzzle that you could put together with the witness testimony. And I think people like Don Schmidt and Tom Carey did a pretty good job. Now, I think sometimes they have a little bit of confirmation bias and they should do more checking into people or more deep dives of witnesses, but they got a lot of on the record witnesses and even children of original witnesses that started telling their children what they saw as they were dying. And to me, a deathbed confession is pretty compelling evidence. Why would these people suddenly start saying, "Oh, I saw the bodies, I
Right.
saw the creatures, and I want you to know we're not alone before I go," and then they die shortly after? It just, you know, and there's a lot of just compelling evidence. Roswell is probably the case. Roswell is the UFO case with the most evidence. It's the most researched case. There's 100 books on Roswell you could read. And people
Oh
are
yeah.
always coming up with new theories too. We had this Annie Jacobson with the ridiculous theory that it was deformed, people that were supposed to look like aliens, that Mengele and Stalin got together, and that's kind of ridiculous. But there it is. I would lean towards the alien hypothesis because these are the 509th was the first nuclear bomb group. They would know what a weather balloon was. These people would not be confused. They've seen weather balloons before. They wouldn't go out to a field and see a downed weather balloon and think, this is an alien spacecraft. This is a flying saucer, or report that.
There were 2 crash sites too.
Yes, that's very, very important. And the first crash site is the debris field scattered all over. And the second one was this egg-shaped craft that apparently had bodies and or, to some accounts, one living occupant.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I guess a 10-year-old, that one 10-year-old kid was telling his story, and he came up as truthful, man. I mean, they actually saw aliens, I think. But I hate Roswell because it happened too long ago for me. It's like, that story's changed so much. I just don't know what to believe. But if you fast forward to Rendlesham, I mean, what do you think about Rendlesham Forest?
Yeah, I've always been a little suspect to that because I remember I have a background in computer science, and I'm okay with the story, but then we always get these additions to the story. It's almost like, well, people are bored with the story, let's add on to it. And
Yeah.
this binary code that got added to it, I have a real problem with because let's say they are like aliens from another star system. I don't understand them coming here and then giving somebody a binary message that translates to English. I just have a little bit of trouble with that.
No, I guess just to see if you have the passion and the want to figure it out. Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Yes, and
It is.
he's also apparently never released the entire binary code, just portions of it. So I'm kind of
Oh,
like, what are you waiting for? Another documentary payoff? Just give us all the binary code. I was one of the first people who did some of that translator, or it's better to say that I checked the translation that somebody else did to find that it was accurate. But I was looking at the binary, and binary, of course, is just ones and zeros. But I'm looking at it going, how do aliens know what binary is, right? Unless I guess they've developed their own computer systems based on binary. But and then how do they know the English language to translate this message in binary from their language to binary that translates perfectly to English? It's a bit of a stretch for me.
Oh, come on. They've been watching us since we were born. That's why.
Could be,
You
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
They've
They
been watching I
created
Love
us.
Lucy episodes.
Of
Oh
course
yeah,
they
that
were.
too. Sure.
Yeah, and they created us, and all that other stuff plays into it.
Well, there's some tantalizing stuff about that. There's been a few evolutionary jumps that are very difficult for evolutionary biologists to explain, but I don't think that justifies jumping right to aliens tampered with our DNA when we were, more primitive. And the Zachariah Sitchin stuff is all garbage because that guy didn't know how to translate anything.
Right.
So most ancient aliens theories are based on the work of Zachariah Sitchin, who's less than credible when it comes to a credible source. He wasn't an archaeologist, he wasn't a linguist, but somehow he's translating ancient Sumerian, and he's making massive mistakes as he's doing so.
That's just like the other guy. That
Eric von
was the guy,
Daniken.
Eric von Daniken. Yeah.
Yeah,
Same thing.
he made a shit ton of money on that book though.
I mean, but when you look at it and you hear him speak and explain stuff, it kind of almost makes sense. It fills in the gaps
Yeah,
for a lot of things.
I was a big fan of Chariot of the Gods for a long time because I grew up Catholic, and there's a lot of questions that the Christian faith or Catholic faith really can't give you the answers to. And Ancient Aliens was comforting, I think, because it's like, oh, okay, that's where we came from, and that's what happened.
We can't figure out how they built these structures, these pyramids, a lot of things in the past that we can't figure out today. How they knew the alignment of stars and when there were going to be, can't think right now. I was going to say something else, and eclipses and stuff like that. It's amazing to me that they knew all this stuff.
Yeah, but I
Especially
think
the
it
Mayans.
discounts. I think all of this ancient aliens theory stuff, it discounts the ingenuity and the intelligence of men. It's like, the pyramids, we couldn't have built them. Yeah, we could. I mean, difficult task for sure, but people had stone cutters back then, and they had slave labor, which sure helps. So to go right to aliens is kind of like taking away the credit of man and men's ability to engineer and construct things.
Yeah, but we can't figure it out today.
Yeah, and I've heard that even if you had modern equipment, it would be a huge undertaking to try to build something like the Great Pyramid today. Modern equipment, laser cutters, stone cranes, it would still be very, very difficult.
So you're 10 years old and you see this thing. Well, I still have questions. Did you ever wind up dreaming of aliens when you were young? After that, before that incident?
No, but I did have a dream of what I saw in the forest a few times after it. It was like it was really, really burning on my mind, that experience. So I think it was just in my subconscious. And when I went to sleep, of course you're going to replay that or see that again in your dreams, maybe. But I've never definitively proved what it is that I saw. My father actually was an aircraft mechanic in Vietnam, and he was an aviation, like, let's just say, enthusiast. And, I told him what I saw, and he was like, it's a blimp. I'm like, blimps don't move as fast as this thing flew off, Dad. And he went, it's a blimp. It's not aliens,
He didn't even
kind of
see
discounted
it.
it. No, he didn't see it. But he kind of discounted it. He said it was a blimp.
Any brothers or sisters that would have seen anything, have ever seen anything?
No, I was in these woods near my house by myself. It's like just walking down this trail, and by myself. So, and I told I don't know. I know that I told my brother about it, and he was just like, yeah, whatever. He wasn't interested.
But he's never brought up anything ever since.
No.
Nobody else has ever seen a UFO in your family?
No, but I did find similar reports to mine in some what are those things called? Those searches that you can make, the microfilm searches. This was years ago, but I did find some. Yeah, I found some UFO sightings from the same area or town around the same time, and that made me think, well, maybe I wasn't the only one that saw them. But it's still just a mystery to me,
We're gonna do word association now.
Oh,
so we're gonna test you a little bit.
Fun and games.
Yeah, because I took criminal psychology in psychology, so I like
that's interesting.
the way people think, and I like to hear these answers, and I haven't done it in a very long time, so you'll be my first in a while. All right, so the first word. Now, all I'm going to do is say, it could be an acronym, of course. It could be somebody's name. I just want you to reply with one word answers, okay?
Okay.
You ready?
Sure.
Clear your mind. Open your mind. What was that from? What was that movie? Total Recall?
Oh, yeah.
Open your mind. Quaid. All right. You ready? Dolan.
The first thought that came to my mind was fraud.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it first.
Okay, can I explain that though?
No need to explain anything. We all know. We all know. We'll get back to it.
I just mean he has this air of like college professor, and I don't think that's accurate. That's all. I think it's a front.
Of course it's not accurate.
Yeah.
Come on, that guy, he's as boring as watching paint dry. I have a hard time with Dolan. I can't listen to him anymore. And when he first was around, when I was first around, it was exciting. I saw an interview of Greer from like 25 years ago. Oh my God, he looked totally different, but the same, almost ape-ish. Seriously, it was kind of creepy, man.
Yeah, and Dolan's been involved in a few different UFO hoaxes that he made a lot of money from, including this Roswell slides. So I don't understand this air. People act like he's some paragon of virtue in the UFO community. He's made a lot of money off of fake stories, just like a lot of these other guys. He's just better at pretending to be sort of credible.
Yeah, it's the tie, it's the respectable mannerism, it's the clean cut, the glasses, his wife. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, maybe ex-wife by now. I don't know what happened.
I think they got back together from what I heard.
Well, good for him, because he's never going to get a piece of tail that hot ever again.
Not like
Probably.
that. Not
No.
like Emery Smith. Okay, next one. Nibiru.
Stupid. I just think it's stupid. I just think it's stupid.
I didn't
I thought it
expect
was
that
stupid.
answer.
I thought it was stupid when it was happening, when people were promoting it. I'm like, wait, so every astronomer in the universe on planet Earth is totally wrong and doesn't see this thing, but you
Right.
guys do.
Right.
I thought it was stupid. And I happen to have a telescope myself. So, like if there really was some rogue planet that was nearing Earth, I think I'd be able to see it. Didn't see it.
All right, let's do one more. I didn't expect that answer. That was brilliant. All right. Oumuamua.
I think that's interesting.
Okay. Well, why don't you expand on Oumuamua? I never really talk about it that much anymore. What's your take on it?
Well, the thing that's interesting to me is that it could very well be some sort of inner solar system probe. I know
Really?
people have theorized this Avi Loeb most famously, but what I found interesting too is that scientists just immediately discount it as nothing important. But if you read this guy Avi Loeb's book, he does make some compelling arguments for why it could be an artificial structure. And if it truly is or was an artificial structure, I would think that more scientists would be excited about it and want to study it. And it seemed like just a blackout. Like, well, it's just a rock. It's venting gases, but then they kind of proved that it's not venting gases. There's a lot of interesting. That's one of those tantalizing ones that's in my gray basket.
Yeah, it is interesting because it was supposed to either speed up or slow down as it went around the sun or something, and it did the opposite.
It changed course, which is not something that a comet or just asteroid doesn't change course. They generally, they're on a certain trajectory.
Course. Oh, I don't remember it. I don't remember that for some reason. Why wouldn't I remember that?
No, maybe I'm wrong, but I believe that it did change course while it was going around the sun. But that could have been gravity related as well. It could have got caught in the sun's gravity, and that pulled it to a different trajectory or different direction than it was originally heading. But it's out of our solar system now, I think.
Okay, so you're 10 years old, you see this thing, your family hasn't seen it, hasn't really been any dreams. So what's this passion that brought you into ufology other than just a curiosity? That's just it. You don't think you were abducted? Nothing like that. You being honest? Are you being honest?
Like no, nothing.
Come on,
like that.
man. You can tell us right here.
You know what? Maybe if I start working UFO conferences telling my UFO encounter, and then everybody gets bored with the original encounter, I'll recover new memories.
Beautiful.
Right? Yeah.
That's how it works, man.
That's how it works. You recover. I just suddenly, or I'll have a hypnotic regression and remember talking to the aliens.
That's actually a good one. That's the way to go, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because those are accurate.
Well, I don't know about that.
I'm joking. It's a joke. Yeah. I'm sarcastic. They're like one of the worst things you could do, right?
I know a lot about hypnosis, being a stage magician. And if you can make somebody cluck like a chicken, you could probably make them think they saw aliens or anything you want. That's just my take on hypnosis. I don't think it's reliable. I mean, sometimes it's a good forensic tool. Like, for example, somebody saw a license plate, but they can't recall all the digits on it. You can hypnotically regress somebody, take them back, and maybe they could recall more detail about what they saw. But some of these guys like David Jacobs and everything, I just think it's like they just lead the witness to the outcome that they want, and then they write another book.
So basically what you're doing on your show is really just telling people what the truth really is, pointing out the liars, the charlatans, hoaxers, etc. Am I on the right track with that then? That's it?
Yeah, that seems to be a lot of what we do. Lately, we've been focusing on UFO scammers, hoaxers. The latest story that's really big is this Billy Carson story.
Right.
Because Billy Carson is a convicted fraudster felon from the state of Florida. And he's got every creditor that he ever had, it looks like, in the court documents suing him for money he never paid. At the same time that he is selling courses in how to make $1,000 a day online. And my big question to him is, why would you just If you can really teach people to make $1,000 a day online, why would you get evicted from your apartment? Why would you get your house foreclosed on? Why don't you just go online and make $1,000 a day until you pay your bills? And then, 10 different credit cards won't have to sue you, some financial guru. So this guy is putting on an act. He's some kind of spiritual guru with forbidden knowledge. But the real forbidden knowledge is that he's a convicted criminal 3 times in the state of Florida. And by the way, he just ran a $120 UFO conference that Jimmy Church, Lou Elizondo, Linda Moulton Howe, Nick Pope, and Richard Dolan all worked for him on that conference. And they have not responded to requests for interviews or comments about what I found about Mr. Carson's past. And I think they should. I think they have a responsibility to their viewers to say, at least say, I didn't know he was a fraudster, convicted felon.
And go ahead. When you what?
When they agreed to work for him, it's one thing if they just say, hey, I agreed to work the conference. I did my usual lecture. I took the check, but I didn't know that he was a fraudster felon that was selling cures for AIDS on his website.
You would think they would have found out, even if they didn't know. Somebody like yourself would have said, "Hey, man, this guy's."
Well, it's the worst kept secret in UFOs. I think a lot of people have. I know for a fact that these guys from Paranormal Hood interacted with him, and they knew him for a while. And the guy Jiggy, who runs that show, he kind of like smelled something that wasn't funny. He's like, something's not right here with this guy. So he started looking into him, and he did a show years ago telling everybody that he was a criminal. And I think a lot of people know, and they just turn the other cheek and cash the check. Like Jimmy Church was having him advertise on his show, selling his cure for AIDS on his website, or his, make $1,000 a day online courses, even though he's got, all these creditors suing him and doesn't pay his own bills. But he's a financial guru,
So, see, this is what I've been talking about, and you've been doing it too for the last week or so. And you've been really on Jimmy Church for a while. So I appreciate you doing that, because I've laid off Jimmy Church for a while.
Yeah, I've told it's not good for my so-called career, but I really don't care.
Why? Why wouldn't it be?
Well, here's the deal. A lot of there's this unwritten rule where you don't talk about other people that are scammy or something. They all kind of do it. All the higher ups in UFOs,
they all do it. Yeah.
They know. Like, do you think Richard Dolan doesn't know that Linda Moulton Howe is selling fake stories with fake sources? He's an intelligent guy. Of course he knows. Why does he work with her constantly? Because he gets a check, and he's not going to say something about his friend. And by the way, they share a social media manager. They both employ the same person. So, it's all, and that's very cozy relationship. So they're not going to comment when one of them gets caught scamming people or selling a fake story or using a fake source that never was in the military. In Linda Moulton Howe's case, I caught her selling a story that she titled "Genuine Gray Alien Taken on the Moon," a picture of a genuine gray alien taken on the moon. There's supposed to be this guy, and he did secret moon missions. Turns out the guy was a complete and total fraud, and the picture was from a 2005 video game cover called Area 51.
Oh, I remember that.
And I caught her, and then I emailed her the proof, and then she got nasty with me, and then she said, I'm not taking the story down, and she changed it from genuine gray alien taken on the moon to alleged gray alien picture taken on the moon. Even when she had I sent her scans of the video game cover, and I did a point by point. They just took the video game cover and they made it black and white. The picture of the alien. So she went right on selling the story and pumping. If you want to see this picture of the alleged gray alien taken on the moon, sign up for my paywall. Get behind my paywall. It's $5 a month or whatever it is. And she knew that picture was fake. She knew it was from a video game. She actually suggested that maybe the video game company got a hold of the secret picture. And I was like, are you kidding me, Linda? Yeah. Are you kidding me? The video game cover got a hold of the secret astronaut who supplied them with a picture of a gray alien taken on the moon, and they colorized it and put it on their video game cover.
What? So what are you and I supposed to do? We're in a losing battle. You realize that, but all we can do is just try to spread the truth the best we can, and hopefully we can pick a few off here and there. It's a big.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. This is why I gave up 5, 6 years ago, whenever it was, because
Well, yeah, I'm a big believer though in this theory, and that is, first of all, if these people are not going to give me a place at the table, I'm not going to ask for a place at the table. I'm taking it, and if they won't, and if I can't get a place at their table, I'm going to make my own. So, I think we're in such a tiny subculture here, but even in this tiny subculture, there's there's distinctions. Like there are some people, and I'm sure many of them listen to your show and my show. They don't want the alien fairy tales with fake sources and fake education people and people that didn't really work where they said they worked, just telling fairy tales. They really do want the truth. And so I think there's still a place for us. But we're handicapped because these other channels can sell all these fake stories and make a lot more money than us. It
but
sucks.
but it's true. But look, people really believe in the Bob Lazar story too. People believe in that stuff. And Bob Lazar says he never made any money, but let's forget about him and say Jeremy Corbell made money off those movies.
Well, no, it's an absolute and total. That's one of Bob Lazar's talking points. I never made any money at this, but what people don't know is that Bob Lazar tried to cash in every chance he got. He sold this videotape that he made called Excerpts from the Government Bible, explaining how the alien spaceships worked and all this stuff for $30 in the back of science magazines starting in 1989. Then he got a deal with Tester's Model Corporation. He got a royalty for every one of those models of the Area 51 so-called sport model. He's tried to cash in every chance he get. He tried to sell a Hollywood screenplay many times with his friend Gene Huff. That didn't work out. And I don't know if it's true. I will say it's rumors and speculation. But what I was told by somebody close to Corbell is that Bob Lazar didn't get paid anything through that film, but his wife did. And if that's the case, then that's like, I didn't make any money. My wife did, but I didn't make any money. And, I know that Corbell once said something about me repeating that rumor, but, show us the accounting. You got spreadsheets from the film. Show us where the money went. He won't. And most recently, he got what I'm told is $1 million book deal with Tom DeLonge. And a lot of people don't know this. Tom DeLonge tried to hide that he was the publisher of the book. Tom DeLonge sent his sister to register the .com for the publishing company, and I caught them. And then
wait, say that again. What happened?
Here's what happened. So Bob Lazar is going to write a book, right? And he gets a book deal with a brand new publisher that never existed before the Bob Lazar book. Okay. So I did some digging, and I found out that the register of the new publishing company's website was Tom DeLonge's sister. So then what we get is Tom DeLonge and TTSA admitting that they were the publisher of the book, but only after I have to be fair and say that several other people caught the same thing that I did. So, but I'm told he got $1 million for that book deal. I don't know if that's accurate, but he did buy. He did buy he bought a property worth about $500,000 like 3 months after he got the book deal. So it's speculation, but I think it's reasonable and informed speculation to say that he got a huge payout for that book. And by the way, John Lear disputes that Bob Lazar wrote the book. John Lear read the book and went off on Facebook, posting all this stuff about how inaccurate it was. They got a lot of details wrong, and he believes that Bob didn't write the book, but a ghostwriter did.
I bet that's true.
Could be, yeah.
I could have somebody write a book for me, and I would be happy with it if they just used my notes and made a story.
It's a lot easier than working. Yeah, books are hard.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
books are hard. I have a book on Amazon, and I didn't, I didn't have a very big part of it. It's really Cal Korf's book, but my name's on it too because I had a small part in the whole story. And even that, writing like 20 pages or whatever it is for that, I obsessed over, and it took me a long time. So I love a ghostwriter. Yeah.
I think I would need one. I'm speaking with Stephen Cambian of Truth Seekers on YouTube. If you haven't checked out his channel, go there now or after the show, whenever, and subscribe to it. subscribe to his channel because I think you'll see a lot of similarities in the way I think, the way I do the show, and especially you guys in the chat because I know many of you think the same things. And I think
got
you'll
some
really
fun new
enjoy it.
characters coming up too. We're going to do a Linda Moulton Howdy Doody character. I got a cat and everything. We're going to do a character called Jimmy Needs Church because he keeps running scams,
That's
posting
nice.
scammers on his show. I may have him give confession to a priest. I don't know. We're working on a bunch of different stuff.
I don't know about YouTube. YouTube may not like that.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I don't know.
Yeah, we're dancing. I'm dancing on a tightrope on there so many times. I just got used to not cursing. I used to curse all the time. Thing doesn't like that, so now I'm trying not to.
Yeah, you did stop swearing. I remember that a lot. A lot.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Philly and I just get kind of ghetto, especially when I get angry. Like if I'm covering a scammer, I get angry, start yelling and calling him, different things that you shouldn't be saying on YouTube.
I've slipped up many. Yeah. When I used to have the AZ UFO show and it wasn't on YouTube. There was no YouTube, but I used to swear a lot. Now when I listen to those old shows, I cringe. I'm like, oh God, no wonder why people were upset.
Well, the other thing is I mentioned that I'm a Christian a bunch of times. Well, not a bunch, but a couple of times on my show. And then I get emails from Christians like, I'm a Christian too. Can you not curse so much because I'm listening and my kids are here or, what? So I just went, YouTube algorithm doesn't like it. Advertisers don't like it. And some of the viewers don't like it. So I'll clean up my trash mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, every now and then when you get a little upset, it comes out. But that's just being a man too sometimes. Or don't say that. Being a man, a woman can swear too. I think people know. Canceled. I'm done. Cancel culture. GUFON said women can't swear. F that. But all right, so. Well, you're 10 years old. No, I'm joking. I'm not going to go back to that. But let's talk about the current state of the affairs. Like June 25th, we've had that cheap-ass dump of data that was nothing.
And which, by the way, I think you correctly predicted Nothing Burger, and so did I. So we could both take a victory lap knowing that we were right. Nothing of significance. Nothing of importance.
And the media really changed the way everybody thought about June 25th. They thought that was the day things were going to drop. No, things could have dropped from December 25th all the way up to June 25th. That was just the deadline. But in September, apparently there's going to be another dump, right? Do you know anything about this September dump that's coming out?
No, I've heard some things, but the little that I've heard, it's kind of like they're saying that the June 25th was a preliminary report, and this one is going to be an updated one with more information. But I'm not hopeful that it's going to be anything of significance or importance again. And the other thing that we always have to remember, too, is that in the world of UFOs, the government has been the bad guy covering up these alien secrets for 70 years. So for anybody to suddenly believe that they're going to just come out and tell us the truth is kind of naive to me or presumptuous. Like they're the bad guys. They're the ones with the black budget projects and the secret military bases everywhere. If they do really have recovered craft or alien technology, I don't think they're ever going to tell us unless they're forced to.
But if they didn't do things the way they're doing it, that technology could get into the wrong hands or another country, an adversary, and used against us. So I could understand the secrecy, involved with all that. I could even understand them saying, there are no aliens, or there are. Well, they'll never admit there's aliens, but that this could be off-world technology to cover up what they have. Maybe they broke through by back engineering some alien technology and now have this new technology nobody knew they could invent. And maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. But Lou Elizondo said, and I'm paraphrasing, that I will never, ever give up national security for disclosure. So he's not here for disclosure. We know that.
Yeah. So, and I love how that guy always dances around things, It's like, I think that he needs a ballet outfit. He dances so much. Like, if you really got the goods, then spill them. Just spill them,
What would be so bad? My question to Elizondo would be, what would be so bad if you got your family, hid them somewhere, and then go on the news and say, here's where everything is, and then get the hell out of town. Well, yeah, he'll say, because I have to live looking over my back, well, da
Hmm.
da 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 da, and live in fear, my family. Really? Really? You think that
Yeah.
would really happen? Do you think Lou knows anything, is my question. Like, do you think he knows the deepest secrets?
I have done some research into him and some of his claims, and what I will say is that I think that he, like Nick Pope, just overstated his involvement in any. I think he overstated his involvement in any UFO government program in order to profit. And if I'm correct, we'll see that I'm correct. He's going to start making the UFO conference circuit. He's going to make more television shows. He's going to be making a lot of money from this thing, and he still hasn't proven his basic claims of heading the project he claims that he headed. We can't see any paperwork. We,
Thank
we
you.
can't see any case files that he investigated, like documents from case files he investigated. And here's a big point. I will challenge him: release your tax returns, because if you release your
Oh,
tax returns for the years that you claim you ran a $22 million program, just your weekly pay amount will tell us whether you were actually the head of it or whether you were a clerk sitting at a desk. And
I
he won't release his tax returns, I guarantee it. And he could prove
didn't.
that. He could prove this tomorrow by just releasing his tax returns. Nobody's brought that up. Nobody's asked him. And I know he says he'll go on any show. I've invited him 10 times. Won't even acknowledge that I've sent him those messages. Because I don't want to say too much, but I think that he knows that I have some knowledge about some of those projects and people that he worked with or for, including a general, that's one of my sources, which worked for Harry Reid, who may shed some light on Lou. And I don't think that he wants to talk to anybody that actually has knowledge of that program that he worked for or what he actually did for the program. That's my take. Otherwise,
Yeah,
why would he duck me while at the same time saying he'll go on any show?
it doesn't matter how many subs you have, because he's gone on shows with 500 subs. I've seen it.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't.
I thought that was going to be the excuse, but then I saw he went on. I don't know, with this Christina Gomez, who had less than me at the time. Now she's blowing up because she's getting a lot of help, I think.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah, see, that's one thing I didn't do, and I didn't want to be one of those guys who fakes friendships just to get subs and likes. You know what I mean? Because that's how it started out for me back in 2004. I was friendly with everybody because I was so naive and didn't know. Soon as I turned on everybody and started talking about things that go on, it was over. And
Yeah, and
well,
I think I can remember a specific time where like I didn't know better. So, I would watch like UFO lectures that were taped at conferences and put on YouTube. And I really believed that when somebody said like I was a Navy SEAL, they really were. Or when somebody said I went to MIT, they really did. It took a while for me to go, let me check into this guy's claims and fact check him. Was he really in the military? And I learned how to look up military records or find military records. And I was shocked at just how many people were totally fake. Their
wow.
background was fake. Their military service was fake. And by the way, that's stolen valor. So if somebody's claiming they were a Navy SEAL or they were any kind of military person, a good example is Charles Hall, who claims that he's the guy who originated the tall white alien myth.
Oh,
He
yeah.
claims that he was a weather observer for the Army. So we tracked down uh, all the records that show that he wasn't in any of the classes that he claimed that he was to become a weather observer. In fact, I believe he wasn't even in the Army to begin with. So, and he's made tons of money at UFO conferences telling his stories. That's stolen valor, and it's a felony.
I don't. I want to see more of Lou, like pictures and like we didn't even. I never heard of this guy until he was introduced to TTSA. Nobody has, obviously, because he's worked in ATIP supposedly. And Harry Reid wrote a letter saying that he gave Lou assignments in ATIP. That doesn't mean he ran it. I'm paraphrasing the letter, but remember when Lou was being questioned on whether he
Yeah,
worked
yeah.
there?
Well,
Well, how put on it? Yeah.
in fairness, it could just be that the government is so disorganized. I mean, look what happens when you go to the DMV, right?
Yeah.
It could just be that the government was so disorganized that nobody was really running the program, but the program was running, and Harry Reid was giving people assignments. In fairness
Yeah.
to him, And the other thing I'll say is that there seems to be a lot of rumors about what Mr. Lou Elizondo did during the Gulf War. And that's all I'll say. There's a lot of rumors. I would think that he would want to discuss.
Like what?
I've heard stuff about had some kind of involvement in Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah.
As
his
an
dad.
intelligence officer.
I thought his dad was part of that.
His dad as well. Yeah, but I've heard he did as well. So there's just a lot of things about him that I choose to say, and unless these questions are answered, I have zero trust of anything that he says. And remember, he was also literally a counterintelligence officer. These are the letter of the alphabet, agencies, the CIA, the NSA, the DEA, the DIA, that I don't trust. I don't trust anything they say, Yeah,
well, when TTSA was formed, they brought all these people, 5 people on stage, and they were all from different, secret groups. I mean, these CIA, are like, it's the all-star team. Yeah. It's an all-star team.
Like I said, there's this strange thing where for 70 years, I didn't understand all the TTSA fan worship, because to me, it was like, wait a minute, you're interested in UFOs. Do you know for 70 years, everybody's been saying that the government's covering this all up. Now, all of a sudden, all these government guys are in this group, and they're supposed to bring us the truth. It doesn't make any sense.
But I don't think they're going to bring us the truth. I think they're not disclosure. Are you saying disclosure or just about what they saw?
Yeah, I think even either or. I don't think they're going to tell us the truth about either, So
these videos that Jeremy Corbell gave us, right, pure shit.
I think they're garbage. I think they're garbage.
Yeah.
I think they're garbage, and here's a big problem. I've heard you say this, and I totally agree with you 100%. What he shows you and then what he adds in text don't match. So in other words, he'll say, there was multiple witnesses and this and that, and the craft exhibited, extraordinary capability. There was a fleet of them. And meanwhile, we get a 12-second video of one of them. Right. The things that he shows us don't match the claims that he makes. And also, I actually wrote a letter to Susan Gahn, the Pentagon spokesperson.
Oh, yeah.
Asking, why is Jeremy Corbell getting all these government leaks? Can I sign up for the leaks? Can I get the next one?
Nice. Yeah.
And also, I have some big questions, and here's one of them, and nobody's asked this or thought about this. Those videos were used on Fox News, on CNN, on NBC, on CBS, and other news networks, and each time they're watermarked with his YouTube channel. And the usual case is that when a news organization uses your footage, they pay you. So my question to Jeremy Corbell is, are you getting paid for videos that you are claiming were leaked to you by the United States, somebody in the United States government?
Which he shouldn't get paid for.
How are you getting paid? You don't own that. The taxpayers own that.
But we don't know if he's getting paid for those.
No, I'm trying to get, believe it or not, it's very difficult to get a news organization to have a media spokesperson to respond to media requests, which is kind of funny. Like calling Fox News and saying, I always just say I'm a journalist. I don't tell them what I do. I just say I'm an investigative journalist. I'm working on a story on a deadline. I have a spiel, So I'm trying to get somebody from these news organizations to tell me whether they paid for the use of the footage or not. Because if they did, that's a huge problem. He doesn't own footage.
Right. Unless it's signed over to him. Right? Which I thought somewhere I heard that it was. That's why he puts his stamp on it. I don't know, man. Those first 3 videos that came out, the Gimbal Go Fast and Tic Tac, those were the Navy's, but were they signed over to him and he put his stamp of approval, or did TTSA do that? I think TTSA did that, right? They put their stamp on those 3 videos?
Yeah. And they were released, I believe those 3, Elizondo got released or got declassified before he quit. So he knew of their existence, but at least one of them was on the internet before TTSA. For years. And nobody cared about them. Because
they're shit. Because there's nothing there. You got grainy FLIR footage that's black and white and blobby.
There's another problem that I have with Corbell's video. The one video that is taken from somebody's cell phone of a screen inside a Navy ship command center.
In the CIC, yeah.
go ask anybody in the Navy if you could just take your cell phone out and start filming in a command center. You'll get court-martialed, fired, and jailed or whatever so fast it'll make your head spin. And you can't, you're risking your career, your pension, and jail time by releasing these things to Corbell. So I just don't trust anything that Corbell's saying about these being, oh, these are declassified from this classified report. It doesn't make any sense. None of this makes any sense.
Okay, great, because that's where I was going to go now. So the videos don't really add up to what Jeremy says they are. They never match. So what do you really think is going on with Corbell being this almost like second fiddle to, you know, Elizondo? Like he's the second guy. Elizondo's one, Corbell's two now. What do you think this is? Is this part of a mis or disinformation thing?
It could be. Yeah, I think it could be. But I think more is that I think it's opportunism on the part of Corbell. I think that he has somebody like Knapp, who's buddy with Bigelow and other and Harry Reid and other people that are sourcing these videos, and then he's going to profit from them. So
but why?
It might be all about the money. I'm sure that the Bob Lazar money dried up already.
It
so
did.
He's got to do something.
Okay, because I heard Jeremy Corbell on other shows, and I always ask the question, and my friends do too, why doesn't he release everything? If he's holding on to these videos, just release them all. What do you got to put them out every 6 weeks?
The one he said with George Knapp, oh, we had these for 2 years,
right?
But we're just now able to release them. So what does that mean? What do you mean? You've had them for 2 years and you couldn't release them until now? That indicates that there may be some government involvement in their so-called releases. Because they physically said, they said when they had a talk together about one of these videos, we've been sitting on this for 2 years, and we're glad that we're finally able to release it to you. So who authorized their release then?
Well,
and they won't tell you. They won't tell you. No,
but somebody in the Pentagon is giving that authorization. But why would they give them these videos before they're allowed to use it? Usually they would give it to them before, just so it's not leaked out. Or stolen or whatever. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
And you're never going to get a straight answer out of either of these guys, you know.
And if it doesn't make sense, something's wrong. And I just haven't figured it out yet. And I think it is a lot about money with Corbell. I really do. And you were right.
Too. He's been milking that story. He's been milking the Bob Lazar story for 35 years.
You were right earlier when you said that Lou is going to now be on the circuit, you know, speaking everywhere. Well, that's what these guys are doing. They set up their lives now for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
Sucks. It sucks. Oh, check this out. Jeremy Corbell, you're just jealous because your curiosity isn't weaponized.
No, but listen, if you do weaponize your curiosity and you ask him any questions, he'll block you on social media so fast it'll make your head spin. You know, I could say a lot of things about him, but what I will say is before he made that Bob Lazar video, me, Jeremy Rise, alien scientist, Solar Marshall, we all sent him mountains of evidence that Bob Lazar was a fraud. And you know what he said to me after a while? He said, I don't need to see any more of this. I said, you're not even going to look at the evidence? You're making a Bob Lazar documentary. He said to me, Stephen, there's no documentary if the story's not true. So that'll tell you. Wow. You can only weaponize your curiosity if it doesn't interfere with your wallet. If you ask him questions, you get blocked. So, and a big question is, he's the person that got this huge access to Bob Lazar. Nobody got access to Bob Lazar for interviews, questions, whatever, for years, except for Knapp. So he gets access. He even gets access to Bob Lazar's mother and sister for interviews. Why didn't he ask their mother or sister if they remember him going to MIT or Caltech? He got mad at me for asking that question. He says, how do you know I didn't ask? Either you didn't ask the question or you did. Right. You didn't like the answer, so you didn't put it in the film. You cut it. He's
a real... I think he was born like with a silver spoon in his mouth type of life.
He's a rich trust fund kid.
Exactly.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
And you know how you could tell he's a failed artist? Not that there's anything wrong with that. Some would call me I would consider myself a failed musician. I tried to be a rock star. Didn't work out great. and then he was a failed martial artist, and now he's a filmmaker. Normal people have to work. They have jobs. They can't, be an artist for 5 years unsuccessfully and not make any money unless they're getting money from some other source. So if I had to guess, and of course this is just speculation, it's guy comes from money. He also traveled all over the world, and that is kind of suspect to me. Like, how can you just, take off from work for 6 months at a time traveling?
Well, if he's got trust fund, I mean, he's probably still got money.
Yeah, you're getting a
He's
check.
probably
Yeah,
he's probably living large, man. That's
yeah,
why he's able to make shitty movies because he doesn't care if they're good because he still has money. I guess,
yeah.
I don't need to make a good.
It's kind of like a rich guy playing filmmaker. I know a lot of guys like that. Actually, I did some acting, and you'd be surprised how many rich guys just suddenly decide they're a director. You know.
They're like, I'm gonna try something new, and I'm great at everything else because people tell me.
Yeah.
Everybody they surround themselves with are like, they just want his money or have money. That's the one thing about money. It's the root of all evil. And I think
Well, actually, I think the lack of money is the root of all evil. Because if you don't have any
well,
money, that's when you start doing dirty deeds to get some, right?
yeah, I can see that. Of course I can. Um, but when you're a dick and you've got money, that's what I'm going at. I
Well,
mean,
what's interesting is I've known a lot of wealthy people. Well, not a lot, but I've had some clients that were super wealthy, and they're always miserable.
I know. Yeah,
And I
I
always like,
know.
like I one time I went out to some kind of fancy dinner, and the guy, it was like crazy amount of money for this dinner. It was probably like a $200 dinner, and the guy
Mm,
complained about everything, sent everything back. He was nasty to the waiters and the waitresses and the restaurant staff, and he was literally probably a billionaire. And I'm thinking, like,
Jeez.
how can you have so much money and be so miserable in life?
Just get Uber Eats, dude. Just order.
Yeah,
I can never
yeah.
have a complaint with that. Um,
Applebee's is fine with me. I'm
fine with
okay. I don't
me,
need anything
dude.
too fancy. Yeah.
Um, so we talked about Corvell, and I know you and I were gonna agree on that, and people making money in the field. I don't have a problem with people making money as long as they're doing it legitimately and not faking, lying, and cheating and all that. Have you delved into the other part, like the CE5? And I mean, Greer, obviously, but I know you don't like Greer either.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not a fan.
but have
His
you ever?
latest is the best scam I've ever seen because he got $400,000 in crowdsourced money to make a documentary that couldn't have cost any more than 10. Ask anybody that makes documentaries. There's
Oh, I
no
know.
way. There's
Yeah.
no way he spent $400,000 on that. And then it was
No.
just he just trashed everybody that's his competition for 2 hours. That was the documentary. And he put ads for his CE5 app, which I believe is consumer fraud. Because he's telling you if you buy my app for $10, you're going to be able to communicate with aliens and vector in UFOs and flying saucers. And if I pay the $10 and the app doesn't do what he says, that's consumer fraud.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's based on faith, and if you ever bought the handbook, which I did, the CE5 handbook, there are so many rules you got to follow that if he said, well, if you didn't do it this way, of course it won't work. He even says in the book it'll take you 5 or 6 times before you start making contact if you don't get it the first time, second time. Like people will give up by then. They feel stupid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
it's bullshit.
also what people don't realize is that when you do that app, you're putting your name, address, and contact information out into the universe. It's almost like the app doxes you
Yeah, right.
to
It
all these
does.
other UFO nutters that are out there. Which I don't know the legalities of that too, but the whole thing is suspect to me. And the fact that apparently no governmental organization has investigated that yet is kind of surprising to me because it's a bold face consumer fraud to me. I mean, I'm a computer science guy. I know what the app does. He's taken a bunch of stuff from transcendental meditation. A lot of people don't know that, but before UFOs, he was a big transcendental meditation guy. So all he did was take some meditations from that and stick it in an app, you know. And there's contact where you can contact other people that want to meditate to aliens too, you know.
Do you think we can fix ufology?
No, but you know what I do think is that there should be two classifications. There should be a classification for people like you and me who care about the evidence and the actual, truth behind some of the stories, and people who just are telling fairy tales. And
Entertainment
unfortunately,
side.
yeah, the entertainment side. And unfortunately, that's not what we're in. We're in, that this there's just I get discouraged sometimes because you go through 99 cases to get to one that's maybe true.
Who do you trust?
There's very few people that I actually trust. I think that I do like John from the Black Vault because I think
I
that
do too.
he's tenacious, and I think that he's generally a good person, maybe, and I've heard him get some things wrong and apologize,
Yep.
which takes a man to do. A lot of these guys, when they get something wrong, they just double down on it. Um, I liked Stanton Friedman. I used to talk to him before he died. I interviewed him twice, but
Nice.
he uh, he and I disagreed on a lot of things too, like the Benny and Barty Hill case and the star map. He got that wrong, and he would not back down. He was
Wait a
convinced.
second. Tell me this story.
Okay, so the Betty and Barty Hill case, during the abduction, Betty tells one of the aliens, like, you know where I'm from, show me where you're from. And
Hmm.
the alien says, you wouldn't understand or whatever. And then she said, no, no, show me. So the alien shows her a star map. Later, she draws the star map, and some kind of astrophysicist claims that they worked out the star map. And what the alien was saying is that they were from Zeta Reticuli, based on the star map that Betty drew. But later, it turns out that the star map was completely and totally off and wrong and had nothing to do with Zeta Reticuli. And many people, including Cal Korff, he talked to all these astrophysicists, showed them the star map, and had them work it out. And many people told Stanton Friedman that he got the star map thing wrong. And that's been the big prover of that case. She's got a star map,
Yeah.
and we translated the star map, and it's a real star map. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
That's what I've been saying.
It was
Okay.
scribbles.
It really
Scribbles.
was. You could point that up just about anywhere and make it match, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they
That's what
just
I said.
matched it to a certain star system. So there's so many different alien stories that say the aliens come from Zeta Reticuli, which is a problem because it's a binary star system. So they'd have to be some weird planets, I would say,
Of
to have
course.
to have a star system with two suns.
Of course. And Zeta Reticuli sounds cool.
It
So
does,
it's
yeah.
yeah, it's
And
very,
isn't it
very
funny that the reptilians come from the what is it, Draco star system?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's
That's convenient. They come from a star system named after a dragon.
it's amazing this
And they're
world we live in.
reptiles. Yeah.
So when you hear the story of Ezekiel, the wheel and the wheel, the fire and all that, do you think that was aliens back then?
Well, I think it very well could have been because, after all, what does an angel need with a flying saucer or a vehicle?
Well,
But then
we
again,
don't know. I
yeah, we've
mean,
had chariots of the gods. One big thing though, I've been listening a lot to L.A. Marzulli. He's interesting because he's
yeah.
Christian and he has a Christian perspective and a little different. And I just like the guy because he's like boots on the ground. Like he will go to Peru to look at those skulls, or he'll go to Machu Picchu or ancient Egypt to look at the pyramids. He's really boots on the ground, and I love that. But he's had some documentary where one of the person made a point that the fallen angels, what people don't realize is that they had technology and they gave some of that technology to humans. And it's hard to get your brain around that. Like, why does a devil or a demon or a fallen angel, why do they even need technology? Why do they have technology? But they sure did. And apparently, according to many legends, they taught people, metallurgy and other technology and, astronomy, which is interesting. But apparently they've had some form of technology. And it's interesting that maybe the gods and the devils and the angels of the Bible really were flesh and blood creatures from other worlds.
I almost believe that too. Yeah, I think they were depicting things they saw, they couldn't understand, so that's just the way they depicted it. I don't know, man. Flying wheels and all this stuff. There's paintings, and you've seen them all. You know all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
It goes back for a long
You know what?
time.
Is even more interesting is the Book of Enoch, which is not in the Bible, but you can
Right.
get a PDF of it online, and that tells an incredible story of a man who interacted with these angels and demons, and you know, even describing the world as a globe before anybody knew that the world was a globe.
That's interesting. Is the
Yeah.
world a globe?
Not according to some flat earthers, but yeah.
Do you think that we could be in a matrix?
I do believe that we could very well be living in a computer simulation, and there's
Really?
I do believe that we could be some alien, maybe created. Then it's just like, in a video game world, there's physics that are defined, right? And
Yeah.
in our world, there are physics and laws of nature that are defined. And there's a lot of glitches in that matrix sometimes. You could go Google glitches in the matrix and find all kinds of weird stuff. But it's entirely like right now, we are beginning to create artificial worlds. Look at No Man's Sky, the video game.
Yeah.
That's an entire universe is inside that video game. An entire universe. It's endless. There's millions of planets in
I
that
have it. Yeah.
simulated world. Boring game, but interesting
Yeah.
concept. So we're right now already creating artificial worlds, and a lot of people prefer to spend their time in that artificial world. Think about it, than in the real world. So as computers continue to advance, we may see photorealistic worlds that are indistinguishable from our reality. And that's a scary thought. And then the question comes, if we're soon going to be able to create artificial worlds that are indistinguishable from reality, then how do we know that the one that we're in is not already one?
I don't know if we can ever find out, but I tell you what, I tried that Oculus.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to laugh at the people who you'd watch on YouTube and they're falling over and everything. Well, I tried this climbing game, and you stand on a platform, like rock climbing,
Yeah.
and you look over the edge, and I felt like I was
Sick to your
falling.
stomach. Yeah, or you feel sick to your stomach.
Yeah,
on
my
the
legs
roller
got shaky.
coaster VR things. Yeah.
I tried to climb up the mountain with no mountain in front of me, and I almost fell on my face. And that's how real that it was. I just couldn't believe what I was in. And then I boxed, and it was very real. I was exhausted. So we are getting to that level.
What's interesting is that my friend at the cabin, and my neighbor, has a VR Quest, and he's a gun guy, and he goes, have you been to the range? You haven't been going to the range, right? You're way out of practice. And I go, yeah, I haven't had time. And he goes, there's a shooting range in this VR here, So we played it for a bunch of nights, and it was indistinguishable from a real shooting range. And then I went to and then I go to the real shooting range, and I'm dead on accurate, like I never stopped practicing, because you got that VR practice.
That's the way it should be, though.
Yeah, and also you got to admit that the world that we really live in is pretty boring. So people like that escape, going into these virtual worlds, or I can't blame people. I know some friends of mine that spend like 8 hours a day playing Call of Duty, or
I used to play video games that way.
Yeah,
when they
World
first
of
came
Warcraft
out.
or whatever. Yeah, now I don't have time anymore, but
I don't either. I haven't played a game in years, other than testing them out on the computer and for the show. It is an interesting time we're living in. Some people say we're living in the future now. We're not that far away from cell regeneration and possibly extending our lives for maybe 50 years.
Yeah, and you know what? The world is going to be a very crazy place in 100 years. Imagine in 100 years, there's going to be artificial intelligence, strong AI, and we're going to merge with it. I think it's inevitable.
Yeah. Absolutely, we will be. I think
that brings up a lot of philosophical problems, because you're going to be the people that have the AI implants are going to be enhanced humans, and what about the poor people that maybe can't afford it? They're going to become lower, like second-class humans.
Yeah, of course,
because they're not enhanced, and I think
they'll be extinct.
When this first comes out, it's going to be the playground of the rich folks. They're going to have that super intelligence merged with their own brain, and be basically superhuman.
Right now, with stem cells, they can, for $15,000, you can buy a shot inject it, and possibly turn around your Alzheimer's, or not Alzheimer's, your Parkinson's. My dad was going to do this, but there's no guarantee. It's a 50-50 chance, and you don't get your money back if the shot doesn't work. But it only lasts for about a year. So
Yeah,
if
then
we
you got to
can
get it again. Yeah.
again for 15, well, they said a second shot's only about 8 grand, so they give you a discount after the first one.
Frequent
So
flyer.
nice. And meanwhile, it cost them pennies, but the research and all that, millions of dollars, I'm sure, billions. But I think we're not that far away from cell rejuvenation and living longer and interacting physically. Having, we already have hearts, right? We can replace our heart with a pig heart, a fake heart. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, and you see that stuff where they make make this sort of lattice, and then they can grow a human heart. There's a lot
That's
of research into that
crazy.
now. Yeah, that is crazy.
Oh, they used to grow ears off of rats and shit like that. It's
Yeah,
so
I've seen
weird,
that.
man.
Yeah, that is weird.
No,
You know what else is a really weird story? Humanzees. You ever look into that? Oh, look
no,
into it. Humanzees. It's a human chimpanzee hybrid, and there's actually been a lot of research. People tried to do this.
I have, but I didn't look into it. I think I saw it somewhere, and I saw the thumbnail or something on it. Yeah, humanzees. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we
All
did a
right.
story on that. We also did a story on human head transplants, which is bizarro crazy, but actually becoming actually possible. And there was a quadriplegic who was like, he is, like paralyzed from the neck down. He agreed that he was going to be the first one, but then he backed out. Like they were going to
Scary.
take his head off and put it on a donor body
God,
so that he could walk again, but he
God, that'd
backed
be
out.
great.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
crazy.
There's so much you have to reconnect perfectly. I don't
Yeah.
know, man, but
They did it in the
that's
70s with dogs and monkeys
yeah.
already.
And they
That's
lived.
crazy. And they lived for a short time until they
Yep.
croaked. Yeah.
Yep. So I don't think we ever got the answer. How can we fix ufology? Let me ask you this before you answer. Would you form another group like a MUFON or TTSA? Who would you appoint if you were to do it that way? Or do you have something else in mind?
No,
Like,
I think a lot of things can be fixed by see. There's this old guard of people that are used to the old system. Like, don't tell anybody about my scammy stories, and I won't talk about yours. But I think there's a lot of younger, up and coming people who are like not accepting that way of doing things, and that's encouraging. you know. And a lot of times, though, this all comes down to the bigger bullhorn. I could present the evidence that this person is selling you a fake story, and here's why. But if they sell their fake story and get 100,000 views, and my show gets 2,000, then the mass consciousness is going to believe the story because they didn't get to me, which is unfortunate. I don't know that there's a way to fix this, but I'm still in there swinging, saying I'm not going to shut up. I'm going to keep swinging, and if somebody's selling a fake story, I think people deserve to know that.
Well, I'll give you the answer to that because I've been thinking about it for 18 years. You can't. You can't
Yeah.
fix it. It's broken, and I
Yes.
don't think it'll ever be fixed until there's disclosure. And I mean aliens, and I'm not, or either or, technology from UFO, whatever. So I don't think we can fix it because too many people, not enough of me out there, not enough of you. And
No,
I think
we're definitely outnumbered by the people with less than good ethics that are willing to sell any story as long as they keep the UFO money train rolling for them.
that's why they don't care about us.
Yeah, but I think largely people need to vote with their wallets. In other words, how many times do we let somebody sell a fake story before we say they should not make any more money from this? Okay, you get something wrong, you apologize, but there's people that have been out there selling fake stories for years,
Yeah.
and they still keep rolling on, and people keep buying the book or documentary. I think voting with the wallet is a wise way to sort of weed out those people that shouldn't be involved anymore. But that
But
being said, I really don't like cancel culture, but in some cases, like, if they're selling fake stories, that's literally consumer fraud. They're saying this is a real story about aliens, even though the source is totally made up or anonymous or fake, and nobody else gets to question the source or whatever. It's a cesspool sometimes.
so nothing we can do. There's nobody we can appoint to govern the videos that are put out there.
Imagine that if you had a UFO czar. All right, your story is BS. We're going to cancel that story. All right,
At
this
least,
story may be true, so we're going to let it go.
but don't you think we should have something like that? I mean, I think that's what I want to appoint myself, as somebody who people should come to if they want answers, or somebody like you. It's because I think it all comes down to critical thinking and what makes the most sense. I always say that all the time, but well, I just don't like what I'm seeing. I hate the current state of ufology. It's disclosure for dollars right now.
Oh,
It's
that's a
fine.
good term. I'm stealing that term. Disclosure for dollars. That sounds like a show title to me.
I stole it from this guy who's in the chat, Lee from Welcome to the Show. I got that from him. He got it from somebody else. But yeah, Dolan for dollars, disclosure for Dolan, disclosure for Dolan's dollars. He charges, I think, $125 for those 4-hour presentations that are, private. $125. That's a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
He's banking. He's making bank.
Yeah, I love this David Wilcock and Corey Good selling courses on ascension for $333. And then they do it the first time and nobody ascends. So then they come out with a new course on ascension for another $333. I know people who have spent $999 on David Wilcock's courses on ascension, and none of them have ascended yet. So
ascension doesn't mean their physical body goes, right? Or does it?
Yeah, it depends on who you ask, I guess.
I thought it was just your soul or something, your energy, your you. No? Am I wrong? You mean the whole body goes up?
Well, according to Christians, the rapture event, the whole body will go up. That's why there's jokes about filling up blow-up dolls with helium and tricking a bunch of Christians. Yeah,
right. I get it. That would be hilarious, actually. That reminds me of the Tomorrow War. Have you seen it yet?
No, on my list though.
It's pretty good. I would recommend it. It's very entertaining. But there's a scene in there that reminds me of that. So we don't have a way to fix it. So we know that we're in an uphill battle. So we just got to keep doing what we do. Be loud. People are watching. I know they are, because I know people who know people who know people. And like Corbell watches this show. Greer has seen me. He's been in the chat. And it wasn't a fake Greer.
I heard that my show is Jimmy Church's favorite show besides his own. He watches every show I do.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Especially if I'm talking about him.
Well, I know he used to watch mine. I used to come on after him when we were both in on this other network together when Art Bell was coming back, and it was weird.
Oh, I remember that. I remember some of that network. Yeah,
it was Midnight in the Desert, I think it was, but it was also oh my God, I can't remember. It was holy crap! I put it out of my mind because it ended so badly.
Dark Matter Radio Network. Maybe.
Yeah, thank you. That's what it was. Yeah,
you know what? That guy told me that I can't remember exactly what he said, but he turned my original show down, and he said that I need to be more like Art Bell, or he wasn't interested. And I'm like, but I'm not Art Bell. So I can't, do you want me to just pretend to be Art Bell and then I could get on your network? He didn't, but then it was interesting is that I looked at the numbers of all of his hosts, and I said, there's no way I can't do worse than these guys. If I'm not welcome there, it's okay. And then I went off on my own and I beat most of his show host numbers by myself, even added up, because after Art, they had nobody. They had nobody there,
No, they didn't really. Just Church. Who would you like to meet? Like personally, who do you want to? Oh, we're almost
there's
done.
A few.
Holy
crap. there's a few guys that I would. I talked a lot to Grant Cameron, who I like. I just like him as a person, and he's had the same kind of thing that happened to me. Like he had an experience, and then he went full in on the rabbit hole. And maybe John from
John Greenwald,
from Black Vault, and a few other people that I think are interesting people.
John was my very, very, very first interview I ever did.
Oh, that's interesting.
I interviewed him. Yeah, he was great. Yeah,
I asked him a bunch of times, but I know he's a busy guy, so
he'll come on.
Yeah, when he has
eventually.
Time, maybe. Yeah,
he's a really good interview too. That guy knows his shit. I really like him. Very. How about Mick West? Why is he getting such a bad rap for doing what? You know what I mean? This guy's
Yeah,
doing.
it's like these people are so nasty to him, and I always think, do you just not want to know the truth? Do you just want to live with blinders on and believe your fairy tales, even if they are fake? Do you need people like Mick West? You need him to show people, that some of these things aren't what they appear to be. I would think he's doing the community of service, and he should be thanked, not ridiculed and hated for it. But it is what it is. That'll show. It's crazy.
This is why I don't give a shit what people think, because I used to be nice and I used to play nice and it got me nowhere. So I said, I'm done playing nice and I'm going to say what I want. And I don't give a shit if you like me or hate me or unsubscribe. Don't care, because the truth is the truth.
Yeah,
I'm just done.
Yeah, I agree with you. And there's something in magic, which is an unwritten rule, but it really is. It's drilled into you. You don't speak badly about another magician ever. Never. You may not like him, you may not like his act, but you don't, because if you do trash talk other people that are doing this art form, then it lessens the whole art form. But in our case here, it's like you can't just keep your mouth shut when people are literally scamming people and stealing money from people for fake garbage. You can't keep your mouth shut. You should speak up.
A bad magician is a little different than somebody purposely lying about talking to aliens and selling a book or something about how to do it. I hate that shit. Is it different or is it the same? I mean, am I wrong?
No, it's a little different. But I just mean there's kind of a similar thing in the world of UFOs. These guys don't talk smack on each other, even though, they work together. They know who's selling fake garbage, and they just keep their mouths shut because they got to play nice and get those conference appearances. And maybe if they start trash talking people, they won't be invited when that person's invited, or it becomes a problem for a conference organizer. Like, I guarantee that if there was a UFO conference and I try to get booked at a place that is booking any of the people that I've been hammering, they're gonna tell the conference organizer they can't have me, or they won't show up, or whatever.
Do you care if you've ever?
No, I've got an autistic son, so I can't really travel anymore. So I don't care, and that's what makes me dangerous. One of the things that makes me dangerous to these people is that I don't play nice. I won't play nice. My tongue will not be tied by financial matters. I'd rather go dig ditches all day than compromise my ethics or principles or let people get scammed with fake stories.
This is why I brought it up about not playing nice, because because Mick West is very respectful when he does his reviews, his debunks, whatever.
He's even respectful to the people trashing him, which is amazing.
I know, right? And good for him. But people still call him out, call him names and everything. And maybe he's better than me, takes the high road. But I don't think people should be allowed to talk that way about somebody like him doing the good deed. Just bringing up other ideas and proving that it's not a UFO, it's an airplane. It's just weird. It's a weird freaking culture we're in right now with ufology. It's the worst it's ever been, and it's not getting better. We need more people like you, like me. There aren't any, though. Do you know any other shows that do what we do?
Yeah, there's Paranormal Hood talks a lot of trash on these guys, and CW Channer is another good one.
Really?
He's one of the people that literally got sued by Corey Good, because because here's what he used to do. Corey Good would do a video, like an hour-long video, talking his UFO alien stories, and then CW Channer would go live immediately after him and pick apart everything he said and talk about how ridiculous his stories were. Corey Good sued him, and he's got right now $15,000 worth of legal bills.
That's bullshit. He should counter-sue for a frivolous lawsuit, because there's no way he's got a leg to stand on.
Yeah, other people are counter-suing him. So hopefully those people that had gotten their free speech stepped all over by this guy will at least get their attorney's fees back, because it is a frivolous lawsuit. He's alleging that there's some vast criminal conspiracy to destroy his business, but his business is telling fake stories about aliens. So, and I can't imagine him going to court and being cross-examined. Like, so you time traveled, sir? Yes, I did. You fought reptilian aliens on Mars? Yes, I did. It's just so ridiculous. But these other guys on the internet said that my stories weren't true, and they wrecked my business. It's just the whole thing is ridiculous.
And then they'd have to prove how much money they lost since
Yeah,
talk shit
yeah,
about them, and it's pennies, it's nothing.
yeah. And
You're never good.
he's got big problems because huge channels like Dark Journalist did the same thing, and he didn't sue them. You know.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So how can he prove that some channel with 3,000 subscribers did him more damage than a channel with 100,000 that did the same thing and talked about the same stuff about him being fake? Richard Dolan said he was fake. He didn't sue Richard Dolan.
It doesn't hurt their business at all. At
No.
all. They're always going to be doing it.
Yeah, they
I
just
can't
find new
believe it.
victims. Find new victims.
Yeah, I know. And that's what they do. And there's a new one born, new sucker born every day. So we have this uphill battle, but we're out of time.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
that was a quick 2 hours. I don't want to go any further, but I definitely want you to come back. And I have so much more to talk to you about. It's disgusting.
Yeah, yeah. You should come on my show. Or you know what I thought we should do is just do a conversation together and broadcast it to both channels. That would be cool.
Oh, that'd be awesome. A simulcast, man. Yeah, I haven't done
Yeah,
one of
like old
those.
school radio simulcast. Sure, yeah.
All right, deal. We'll do that.
Yeah, we'll do that. And I'll keep listening. You keep up the good work. I think you do good work. And I'm glad that you're around. Because it makes me feel that I'm not so alone.
Hey, man, let me tell you, you're not alone, and my fans love you. They think you're the best, and I'm
Go
glad.
subscribe.
Yeah, go subscribe. Go subscribe to Truth Seekers. Right? You don't have a set schedule. I just found out.
No, I'm trying, but it's usually 9 p.m. But I'm having a difficult time because I got my kids at home on summer break,
Till
and
September.
they're running me ragged.
Do you think you'll have a set time in September or not?
Yeah, yeah,
I recommend it if you can.
yeah. I'm gonna try to do Monday through Friday.
We do have do you have a few minutes? Maybe some people want to ask questions.
Sure thing.
If anybody has a question that they want to ask, are you okay, man? You want to get a, there it is, drink.
No, I'm okay. I got a little bit of a cold and it's killing me,
know.
like post-nasal drip in my throat. And
I forgot to take a break halfway through the show for you because I know you did that in your show to, drink and.
No, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm not dying yet.
All right, good. It's almost over. A lot of people saying great show. Thank you, Felicia. Appreciate that. Great show, IR Film. I love Randy Kramer. Kramer. What is this one? Coral Ann says, thank you so much, Stephen Cambian. Great show with Rich. Thank you, Coral. Coral's moderator here. Great show, dudes, from Paul Tavares. Let's see. Ask him if he believes Lazar. We kind of did, but if you want to.
No, I have several deep dives into Lazar that I've done on my show, destroying his educational credentials, destroying, the story that his business was raided while they were looking for Element 115. I talked to the police that was in on that raid. It had nothing to do with Element 115. There's 100 things I could tell you about Bob Lazar. The best of which, though, is that he's a convicted pimp. And I don't trust pimps. So I believe that Lazar's story was made up to make money.
Really? Made up to make money? See, I think John Lear, wasn't he friends with somebody who could get information for, like, Bob Lazar? I think the whole thing was made up.
Well, it's interesting in that Bob Lazar and Gene Huff went to Lear's house to do a real estate appraisal, and what Gene Huff got for that in return from John Lear is copies of all the Billy Meyer material. And that happened just a few months before Lazar suddenly decided that he got a job at Area 51 working on flying saucers, and the flying saucer he describes is exact to a Billy Meyer beam ship.
Yeah.
So, I don't trust Lazar. I love the story growing up, but the deeper you dig, the more stuff you find that indicates that it's not true.
Let's see. Lord Ludicrous Plaid told me to read his super chat, which says, Corbell slept on Lear's couch for years. Did you know that?
Yes, I did. And I also know that from what I've been told, Lear's wife had to basically threaten him to get him out of the house, to get rid of him.
Oh, no way.
And there's all kinds of legal threats back and forth. That's why Corbell never released the John Lear documentary he was supposedly filming while he was living with him for years.
But
Because
I thought Corbell had money. Why was he staying on the couch? Because
I don't know.
No credit?
Idea. Maybe his rich daddy cut him off. Who knows? Yeah.
God, I hope so.
We're terrible people, but I do too.
No. I want him to learn what it's like to be me once in a while.
Yeah.
If he's living rich, I need him to be, go back to reality. Let's see if we have any more. Great as always, Rich. Hell yeah, good stuff. Phenomenal, guys.
You see, the question from Tina Mobley is a good question that I have some great stuff on.
Where? Go ahead and.
Okay, it's Tina Mobley is asking if I know about the Edge of Wonder boys and what did I think of them.
Oh my God! I just hung out with the guy from Edge of Wonder with Third Phase of Moon on the vacation.
You're kidding me, really?
The guy with the hat. What's his name? Ben?
Ben, yeah. Well, here's what nobody knew, and really this was broken by this CW channel I mentioned earlier. Ben and the Edge of Wonder boys were actually employees of Epoch Times magazine or newspaper before they started Edge of Wonder. See, they came out like, we're just two guys and we're real interested in UFOs and conspiracies. But the truth is that they were fully funded by a Chinese cult called Falun Gong. And their whole show was financed by a Chinese cult.
Shut up. No way.
No, absolutely true. The parent company to Edge of Wonder, the name escapes me right now, but it's the same parent company to Epoch Times newspaper, which is run by a Chinese cult. So a Chinese cult somehow funded these guys. There's a reason they came out of nowhere and suddenly had 100,000 subscribers, the best cameras, the best video productions, and literally a staff of 20. Like, who starts a YouTube channel with a staff of 20? By themselves. You don't do it. So they had
I wish I would have known this.
Yeah, they had funding in the form of a Chinese cult, Falun Gong, who also is involved with Epoch Times magazine. And
Okay, so what? Who cares if they were funded by a cult? They still put out a good product.
I don't think so. Corey Good and David Wilcock and all these other nutters, and
yeah, I know, but
and the thing is, it's very dishonest that they would say, "Please subscribe to our website, send us some money because we're trying to keep the lights on here." When the truth is, there was a Chinese cult that was funding their entire lives and operations that they were former employees of, and it can be proven that they were both former employees of Epoch Times Publishing. And they sat there like, we're just two guys interested in UFOs, when the reality was they were sent to YouTube to do that channel by a Chinese cult for one reason or another. A Chinese cult which believes in aliens and also believes that black people and white people go to separate heavens because they can't be in the same heaven.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of crazy stuff.
Wow. Yeah. This is interesting now to me. I've got to do some digging.
Yeah, those guys are definitely brainwashed Chinese cult members, and I got banned from their chat for asking why they don't tell their viewers that the Chinese cult is paying their bills and things like that.
They have a new thing. I think it's a website called Rise, and it's,
haven't heard
Rise.
of it.
Yeah. Well, he told me about it. It's brand new, and they're putting Edge of Wonder into Rise as its own separate TV, like a TV show type of thing they're doing. So they're going to take the episodes and use them as TV shows. I don't know, clips from the show. You know what I mean? They're not getting rid of all their stuff, but it's not on YouTube.
Yeah, so I know they got banned from YouTube for medical I think it was for medical disinformation.
It was because of that and talking about and all that stuff.
Yeah. I always say the letter of the alphabet conspiracy. I won't even mention that letter on my show. I don't, because the algorithm doesn't know whether you're speaking in support of it or making fun of it,
Tractor, we're almost done. Tractor Basil says, I really do love Randy Kramer. Why you laugh? No, I laugh because it just, it shocked me. Yeah,
do you know that I once challenged Randy Kramer to a boxing match, and I said that if he won, because he has superpowers, he's a super soldier, so certainly he should be able to beat that snot out of me in a boxing ring. So I said, I'll box you in a boxing ring anywhere you want. You can even pick the referee, and I'll pay for the referee. I'll pay for the ring fees, whatever you want. Pay for the venue. If you beat me in a boxing match, I'll give you $10,000.
What?
And he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I wanted to prove that he's not a super soldier and he doesn't have superpowers. Because if he had superpowers, he should be able to beat me in a boxing match easily, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, take out Steven Seagal.
He wouldn't get in a boxing ring with me.
Thank you for the $5, Tractor Basil. Always a good supporter to the show. Appreciate that. All right, that about wraps it up. Van, tell everybody again, where can we listen to your show, find you?
Yes,
where?
You just put Truth Seekers in the YouTube search bar. Look for me, the guy with the strange sunglasses. That would be Stephen Cambian, host of Truth Seekers. And you are all most welcome. A lot of you guys have already come over to my show, and I want to thank Rich for always giving me a bump and supporting me. I'm going to owe him a huge favor.
No favors, man. We just do because we want to do. That's why. Anybody I see doing what I do and make me laugh and make me angry at the same time, I'm all for it, man. You do a great job over there. Hey, man, you're growing, and that's all that matters. So onward and upward, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'll definitely keep in touch with you, as always. We converse here and there, so I appreciate that friendship. Thank you very much for coming on, GUFON.
Yeah, it was my pleasure, absolutely.
First time's always the toughest. I thought you made it easy, so thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. We're going to head on out. Can you hold on one sec if I put you in the green room and say goodbye to everybody?
Absolutely.
All right.
Do
I won't keep you too long.
No, I'm not doing this is all I'm doing tonight, so I'm all yours.
All right, man. Thanks. I would have gone another hour. No, I'm joking. I can't. I would like to, but those days are over. All right, hold on one second, man. Thank you.
Thing.
So that was awesome. There were so many things I wanted to talk about, didn't talk about. That's why we're going to have to, do another show. There's just too much to touch on in an hour and 53 minutes. I want to thank everybody, and Athena, the poop for the $5. I just wanted to say poop because, it's funny to me in a way, but thank you for the $5 and the other $5 super stickers, super chats, and everybody else for supporting the show tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. COVID. I don't have a guest tomorrow. I may have one, but Friday I have a guest coming up. Can't remember the name. The guy's going to kill me. I can find it, but I'll just tell you tomorrow who it is. And then starting next week, which is August 1st, I'm going to try to get a guest just about every night. I don't think I'll be able to do it. I really don't. Not that easy for me. It is, but I don't know. It takes effort. Hey, if anybody knows anybody who you want me to interview, just email me at gufonradio@gmail.com. Mr. DB Cooper with a $10 super chat. GUFON Truth Seekers, great conversation. Thank you, Mr. DB Cooper 77. It was a great conversation. It's hard to get personal on these shows. I don't know why. I always think I'm going to get a personal side of people when I interview them, but it never seems to go that way. And I guess we don't want to get too personal. But maybe some other time, I don't know what else there is to talk about. Did you play baseball when you were a kid? Did you have a girlfriend? When was your first kiss? Nobody gives a shit about that stuff. Although I would like to know when Lou had his last kiss. I'd like to know whose ass he kissed last to get this job. I'm out. So until tomorrow, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, we'll be back live with another GUFON show. And I got to do the outro. Always have to go out with an outro. Cannot do the show without an outro. Thank you, moderators, super chatters, super stickers. Thank you for your support. As always, can't do it without you. So thank you very much. Hey, what's going on? Hold on a second. It didn't pull it up. There we go. So thank you, son of a bitch. Your mother's got 19 eyes. All right. Thank you very much for supporting the show. Can't do without you. And thank you for the newcomers and veterans alike. Thank you. Just give the show a few minutes. That's all I ask. If you like it, come back, subscribe, thumbs up, and don't forget to share it to at least one person. And I'm Rich Giordano. If you ain't looking up, you ain't looking out. Have a good night, everybody. And thanks to Stephen Cambian of Truth Seekers. Check him out, subscribe right now. Good night, everybody.